What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the KellyCast, the first and possibly only live of the season. Well, I guess it's the second live because we were live with Mitch last week, but we're talking Bills Dolphins today. Mike, how you doing?
Lovely. I'm doing lovely today. How are you today?
We up?
It says
You should be up.
Refresh the page.
Should be live. Are we live, everybody? Testing.
Is anybody out there?
Testing 1, 2. My computer's processing.
Yeah, we are
too many
live.
things.
My
We're live.
computer is so far behind.
Okay, that's
Sorry,
great.
guys.
As long as we're live, that's what matters. Anybody who's here, I do apologize, but it's telling me to sign in. Mike, if you want to try to keep up with the chat, if possible.
Yes, sir.
But again, we are here to talk Bills and Dolphins, and OBS is trying to piss me off, so that's great.
Yeah. Good thing we're only doing this a couple times this year.
For sure. I think it might be just a little bit laggy, hopefully not too much for anybody to click off the video. But anyway, Bills Dolphins tonight, first game of the season in terms of the AFC East, a rivalry here as we know it, if you want to call it that. Mike, you saw the Bills play against the Cardinals last week. They gave up 28 points in the first half. Defense really shored up after that in the second half. What were your thoughts overall after the Bills won? Like, how were you feeling
After they won?
Yes.
I felt a desire for more of the shootout offense that we once knew. I don't expect that this year with this receiving core. Not everybody's as explosive as the past few years, but I miss it because those slow starts sure as hell scare the hell out of you.
Mm-hmm.
So
for sure, I think. Sorry, I'm just trying to sign in here to the comments, but yeah, I think relief was the word for me because you and me watched the first half before I had to leave for work, and it was like, hey, it's not looking good. And when I left, I told you, it was like, it doesn't look good right now, but they can, and hopefully they will make a comeback. And I was confident in the team. And I think maybe a lot of people weren't, just with the way things were going in that first half.
right.
But ultimately the Bills won, and that's all that matters is on paper that they won. They didn't come away unscathed, right? Taron Johnson, one of the best slot corners in the league, is now out for who knows how long, not playing in tonight's game against the Miami Dolphins.
With that forearm injury, that one's definitely going to hurt.
Yeah,
hurt a lot.
It sucks losing Milano and then Taron because it leaves that middle of the field as a real big question mark, and I don't like that. So obviously you never like to see injuries, but losing those two guys in particular really hurts. Miami, meanwhile, hosted Jacksonville last week. 52-yard game winner by Jason Sanders. He's a good kicker, man. To come out in like that moment, a 52-yarder. That's not, a small ask of a kicker to hit that 52-yarder, and he did. So they also are 1-0. Mike, did you have any thoughts on them from week one?
I really didn't get to catch much of the game, so I really don't have many thoughts on it. But I honestly thought the Dolphins should, with the team that they have on paper, I thought they should have beat the crap out of the Jags.
Okay. I will say
the Jags obviously did their homework, so
the Jags they look decent. It was a 20-17 game. It was a close game all the way till the end, but as I mentioned in the last video on the KellyCast, talking about Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence didn't look great. His completion percentage wasn't quite there. ETN didn't get going. Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie, led the team in terms of receiving yards, or maybe he was just second to Gabe Davis, but he was the only one that scored. And I just feel like Jacksonville is kind of a slow team in terms of like getting ready for the season. The way Buffalo is, but more losing, I guess would be the way I would put it. But let's start off, Mike, with an apology from you for the offensive line, because you talked all that smack on Connor McGovern. What did you see from him in week 1? I know you're a big offensive line guy now with all your jerseys.
Well, not just offensive line. I got a lot of defensive line guys too. So just a line guy, only because it's the only thing I can fit my fat butt in.
He's in the trenches, man.
I do owe Connor McGovern an apology so far. I would love to see more of the blocking. I don't believe he had allowed more than, I don't think he allowed a sack. There we go, Danny.
Hey, it's the classic.
Pulling a mic.
It's the classic mic. I had to do it. I can't get comments over here. We got 5 people watching right now.
I see 5 people out there. If you guys are out there, leave a comment. On your
Let us
thoughts
know
on the
who
game.
you are.
What do you think's gonna go on?
I'd be excited to know who you are. If you're one of the boys, if you're one of the new subscribers, we have been getting new subscribers lately. There are videos going out very frequently here on the KellyCast. I'm doing my best. Mike's really trying. We're doing our best to put out content. Season 2, the KellyCast. This time, it's personal.
Conflicting schedules.
Oh, 100%. 100% conflicting. That's why we got to work together to get this thing going. But, yeah, I mean, overall, the Bills' offensive line had a really good performance against Arizona. I think Josh got hurt, and we haven't mentioned that yet. And, you know, obviously it's one of the biggest topics. Josh didn't get hurt because his offensive line was playing bad, right?
No, Josh got hurt because he landed all 250 pounds of himself on his hand. Thank God it wasn't his throwing hand, or I think I would have cried.
You know, it makes me both angry and hard to believe that I weigh the same as Josh Allen, because I don't look nothing like Josh Allen.
No, not at all.
Last year I remember,
not nearly as athletic either.
I remember when I was working at the bus station, man, somebody told me I looked like a cross between Josh Allen and Kyle Allen.
I was gonna say Josh Allen and a potato.
Hey, I know I gained some weight. Relax. Everybody's been telling me that. Don't tell somebody that. It's not nice. Oh man.
Oh, Samantha's in there and says, "Hey, Sam, how's last place?"
Kevin's in last place. Kevin got the.
Was it second last place?
Third last.
Oh, okay.
You know who's in second last is your boy.
Who's
Ken.
That? Oh,
Ken is in second last. He had a tough week 1.
Ken likes to pick a lot of losers. I think that's why we're friends.
Yeah, I mean, he had a tough week 1, and I messaged him about it, and I said, "Hey, man, like, looks like it was a tough week for you at the KellyCast." He goes, "Man, I'm not even mad, but I picked Joe Burrow in one of my Survivor leagues, and I'm out." And I said, "Man, you got to keep up with the stats. The Bengals and Joe Burrow don't do it in September." Yeah. Oh, Sam is in the chat.
Yes. That's what I said. Sam's in the chat. It says, "Hey," and I'm rude. Apparently,
does she say that we want to cheat for her to make sure she wins?
Michelle Tanner up there, rude. How rude.
So now, on our screen right now, you can see the Bills' second round pick. Excuse me. How could I forget the Bills traded out of the first round twice? But that is Mr. Keon Coleman. First of all, I think it was a flag. I think it was offensive pass interference on that deep route. It looked like he pushed off. It wasn't called, and if it's not called, you know, do whatever you want. But Keon looked good, man. I didn't see the catch.
They're pushing a little on each other. I don't know.
I didn't see the catch.
Tough call. Maybe it was a makeup call for that horrible roughing the quarterback.
That was terrible. But before the half, I was driving into work. I didn't see the play, but there was a pass to Keon Coleman, and it sounded like he made like a drag route all the way across the field, got out of bounds. Yeah, he had a good stat line, right? And we're looking for more of the same. I think it's going to be a tough go today. Jalen Ramsey. Everybody wants to say, you know, Josh Owens Ramsey or whatever. Jalen Ramsey is the top paid quarterback in the NFL for a reason.
How is it not cheating, Samantha? How is it not cheating? I'm waiting. We don't have all day.
She said she wanted you to sit next to her on the one side and me to sit next to her on the other side. And I said, your arm's going to be getting slapped a lot if that's the case.
She wants the lug rubbed off on her?
I don't know, man. But anybody in the chat that's not Samantha, please comment, because we'd love to hear from you. I can hear from Sam.
We're up to 7 people.
Anytime I'd like, I can hear from Sam. So let's hear from the rest of the fans of the KellyCast what you guys think about tonight, what you think about week 2 in total. If you want me and Mike to answer any of those questions about week 2 that we haven't posted yet. There's 2 videos up on the channel regarding the week 2 slate. More to come tomorrow, so stay up to date with that. Let's move on to a new segment here. I think it's going to be a fun segment, Mike, and that is the Kelly's Keys to the Game. The Buffalo Bills 1-0, Miami 1-0. Somebody's going to walk away from this with an L, or it could be a tie. Let's hope not. But it is obviously possible. When you look at this on paper, Mike, what do you think for the Buffalo Bills to win this game is a key to the game?
The key to the game for Buffalo is what it always is against Miami in the Tua era.
And the Tuas.
The key to the game is that we have to put pressure on Tua. He does not bode well under pressure. If he can't get the read that he wants, if he can't get that quick first read, if you take that first read away from him, I don't know how many more, I'm just trying to see how many more times I can say read in a sentence.
I got you.
If you can take that first read away from him, just like Jacksonville did, I think we'll be perfectly fine.
I don't mean to get away too much from Bills Dolphins because I know that's what everybody's here to see. And I want to thank everybody for stopping by. If you could, please like the video, share it with all your friends, your enemies, your dogs, cats, your cats, dogs, everybody that you know, and subscribe to the channel for fresh NFL content, fresh Buffalo Bills content, whatever's going on in the league. We got you covered right here. Did you see the quote from Kyler? I posted it on our socials. Did you see
about how it's not his job?
He literally said
Harris the ball.
It's not his job. And brother, you are a quarterback in the NFL. Your job is to throw passes to receivers, tight ends, and running backs. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a receiver. Now I understand, right? He had the yips early. He dropped a couple balls. He is a rookie. You need to feed him. You need to give him opportunities. You need to give him chances. Kyler missed him on that wide open play. I understand there was pressure in his face. But
he's 5'4", so he can't see over the line. That's not his fault.
But
get the guy
saying that it's not your job, saying that it's your offensive coordinator's job baffles me.
That has to be baffled. Baffled.
I mean,
I can't even get the words out. It angers me so much because you are supposed to be the captain of the team. You're the leader of the team. And right there, you're telling me I'm not taking the bull by the horns.
They were talking during the broadcast about Kyler and Jonathan Gannon being such this well-oiled machine. And if that's the kind of answer that a franchise quarterback is given when asked about why your number 1 drafted receiver that was picked in the top 5 in the NFL draft is not included in the offense, if that's your answer, there is reason to be concerned, for sure. Sorry, I just had to get that out.
Because he's not a franchise quarterback. I've said it before. He's just not. And that just proves it.
But getting back to the Kelly's keys to the game, you mentioned yours on defense for the Buffalo Bills, containing Tua, making sure he's pressured. And obviously the Bills did a good job last week, right? Greg Rousseau, 3 sacks. Von Miller showed up in the stat line and on tape.
And on the sack line, yeah. I mean, he said it felt great to get that sack. So maybe that gives him some motivation for the rest of the year.
I'm hoping so.
I need you to pay me back tenfold for that bag last year, but
I'm surely hoping so. But my key to the game is going to be on the offensive side of the ball, and that is getting the tight ends involved. Now, last week, the Buffalo Bills ran on first down in the second half way more than expected. They ran a lot to start the game, and it just was not working. James Cook had 19 carries, and he averaged around 3.5 per carry, that's bad, man. To get 19 carries and average 3.5.
I heard 75% by the first half they ran on first down. So
yeah, that's a predictable offense, and I don't like to see it. It reminds me of Ken Dorsey, and I don't want to be reminded of Ken Dorsey. But speaking of former coordinators, Brian Daboll is getting flamed, man. He's getting flamed for the New York Giants, and I don't know whether it's a combination of Daboll's coaching and Daniel Jones' ineptitude at the quarterback position, or if it's just Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones was okay at one point. He flourished, which is what got him that big contract his first year under Daboll. And I'm just as baffled as you are because what the hell happened between year 1 and year 2? I mean, we've heard of a sophomore slump, but we're in year 3 and they're showing a lot of the same antics, if you will.
I think it's only a matter of time.
And they don't have Saquon to lean on anymore this year either. So that offense got a lot worse.
It's only a matter of time before DeVito gets the starting job, I think, and Daboll is thrown out of town. Like it's going to happen. But getting back to the Bills tight ends here, I noticed Kincaid was taken away completely by the Cardinals in the first half. I think Knox had a catch, Kincaid had a catch. And by getting those tight ends involved, you get the play action game working. If you get the play action game working, you can get the run game working. It is, quite frankly, take the word Kelly away, it is a key for the Bills offense to get the tight ends included. Just period. Because they are so important in this offense now that does not have a number one receiver.
Right, and Kincaid was basically pushed as they're going to be the number one receiver this year. So
yeah, and
if he's going to be the number one, you got to, like you said,
you need more than a couple targets a game to be the number one receiver, and hopefully against Miami it works. But Miami's defense looked really good last week. The return of Jalen Phillips after a season-ending injury, he had a sack last week against Trevor Lawrence, and I want to ask you about JP, Jordan Poyer, on the opposite side of the field. He knows Josh Allen. He knows our calls. Are you a little worried more than like a normal matchup, knowing that Jordan Poyer, a guy who played with Josh Allen his entire career, is now on the opposite side? I don't have any more drink. It would be nice if it was full.
You want some of mine, bud?
I'm good.
It does concern me a little bit, but not too much, because you can change up. I mean, it changes every year from year to year. He only had a half a year under Joe as coordinator. Yeah, he knows Josh's tendencies. So that part's probably more scarier, because I think being on the team and playing it, even just in practice, you learn their movements. When he's going to take off, when he's going to do, just little small things.
Yeah.
That are tells for him.
He can read his eyes from that safety spot. And if he knows what's going on, I'm not, like you mentioned, I don't think scared would be the word, but tentative maybe would be like tentative that, hey, that's Poyer. I think he's wearing 21 for the Dolphins. Hey, that's 21. Watch out. Make sure to have eyes on him at all times, because it can be a problem here in this matchup. Okay, we got the Kelly's keys to the game. Thank you, graphics. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much, graphics, for working with me. Getting back here to Bills Dolphins. Tua against Buffalo in his career, 1-6. The one victory coming in that heat stroke game where if Isaiah McKenzie gets out of bounds, maybe Tyler Bass has a shot at it. Doesn't end up happening. The clock runs out. The Buffalo Bills are not able to attempt a field goal or take a shot at the end zone. You're the guy here who sometimes does, but most of the time does not pay attention on the stat sheet.
Not usually.
So that record, does that concern you? Does that, like, if you were looking at this from a non-biased way, which is hard for us, obviously, because you see all the Bills merchandise. But if you were looking at this non-biased, would you say, like, hey, it's pretty evident that Tua struggles against Buffalo?
It is definitely pretty evident that Tua. I mean, I hate to say we own Miami, because today's going to be the day or something as soon as I say that, but I don't know if I can be unbiased.
Okay. Hey, that's a fair answer. I think if that's your record against a team in your career, it's okay to have doubt in you. And hey, head coach Mike McDaniel said it today. I don't like McDaniel. I know you like McDaniel.
I think he's hilarious.
I'm not a fan of him personally, but he said it last year. He said it this year. I can respect it. He comes out and says, we're not nothing until we beat the Buffalo Bills. We are not the number one team in the AFC East until we beat the Buffalo Bills.
You got to look at it from a Dolphins point of view. It would to them, we are their Kansas City Chiefs.
Real quick, shout out Chris. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you commenting. If anybody else is out there, has any questions for us regarding the game, has any questions for us around week 2, Chris, if you got any questions, let us know down in the comments. And Yeah, I mean, the one thing we haven't touched on, the Tyreek Hill situation last week. We're not getting into politics here. I will say, did you see the celebration, Mike?
I saw the celebration. I thought it was quite hilarious. I thought it was funny.
Quite funny.
I mean, at least he made it to the game. I just want to know one thing. How did you just have surgery and you're going to fight the police, though? Just that's all I'm going to say on it. But
you'll also hear him saying in the video, "I just got my knee worked on. I just got my knee worked on."
That's what I said. How do you just have surgery with your knee? That's what I mean. That's what I was referencing. It's
Chris with a hot
insane.
take in the comments says Khalil Shakir leads the team in receiving and yards between both teams.
Ooh,
Chris, I would classify that as a hot take. If you look at the stat sheet last week, both Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill went over 100 yards. The Bills' leading receiver last week, I don't even know who it was on paper, honestly.
That is a bold statement, sir, against two guys who could run the 4-3? A 3-4. I mean,
oh, now they're running a defense.
I mean,
a 4-2 probably on a good day. Tyreek Hill, the fastest.
One the cheetah and one the penguin, but the penguin is not slow.
Fastest player in the league.
So.
I don't know, man. I would be very happy if that was the case, because if it was the case, most likely it would lead to a Buffalo Bills win. Not always. Sometimes the losing team does lead in receptions.
Our safeties are going to have to play real deep to keep up with them, which is concerning because we don't have very fast.
We don't have coverage. I mean, Taylor Rapp is okay in coverage, but DeMar Hamlin is not a coverage safety. He is a run support kind of player, and that's what he's meant for, run support. We didn't mention the running backs, and I didn't make the graphic, but whatever. That's okay. Miami. Running backs in this matchup. You know it because we talked about it previously before coming on here. Raheem Mostert out. He was out on Tuesday. They mentioned it. Devon Achane, game time decision. You want to talk about fast? You remember that guy last season when he came in relief of Mostert in that 70-point game against Denver? Ridiculous. He was a part of that. He was a part of that blowout. And he's fast, too. He's very fast. And him being a game-time decision, Mostert being out.
That entire offense is built on speed. So, that's what you can't really play. If you're Buffalo, you can't really play man against the team. You don't have the talent for it.
And Jeff Wilson Jr. is going to be the running back. I believe that's his name. Played with the 49ers for a bit. Or maybe it's Davis. I don't know his name off the top of my head. I apologize. It's been a long day. But it's a third-string running back, right? You got to look at it for what it is. The Buffalo Bills need to take advantage of the fact that Miami should not have a good rushing game in this matchup. It just, on paper, that's not the way it should work. So you should be able to force the Dolphins to pass, get them in situations. Chris, thank you.
So I'm checking out Danny. I'm just researching, and Achane is active for the game tonight. So
Chris says the same thing. He says, I know I've had takes about DeMar before, but you need to start Cam over him, in my opinion. Thoughts? Chris, this is a good point, but the Buffalo Bills defense has a need for somebody to play everywhere, and in terms of the secondary. And if you remember last year, we had a guy, Saran Neal, who could play safety, who could play the nickel, who could play the slot, and do a solid job. Well, Saran Neal packed up his bags and joined Jordan Poyer in Miami. So now that guy is gone.
Unfortunately, the most trustworthy guy is DeMar. He knows, I'm just going back to last week, what I said. He knows that playbook inside and out. He knows where he's supposed to be. He's not the most athletic, but he knows what he's supposed to do out there.
See, I think being a smart player is important, Mike. But being a smart player and knowing how to cover are two different things. And if you can't cover well, I don't think you should be starting. I'm not agreeing with Chris in saying that Cam should start over him, because my point was, before you rudely interrupted me, was Cam Lewis is the Swiss Army knife on this team. He's the guy who can play slot, who can play nickel, who can play safety in that pinch, in that spot where you need that big formation, big nickel on the field where you have 5 corners. You need him there. On top of that, you need him healthy, because you just lost Taron Johnson, right? Yeah. So you need that kind of thing. going. Coming from someone who said start tomorrow over Poyer last year, God, was I wrong. Chris, you're funny, man. I appreciate you commenting down below because, man, it's been a while since we talked ball, and I appreciate you coming in and always supporting the channel. It means the world to me. Everybody else who's here, first of all, you've been here the entire video. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let us know who you are. Like the video, share the video, do all the things. You know how it goes. Bills in prime time this year, Mike. Not as many games as the past.
But it's only in one. I think it's only one less game, so it's not like it's not like the NFL is giving up on us yet. They still think we got a window. They're still giving us plenty of primetime games.
Okay. Do you like seeing the Dolphins right now in terms of on the 17-week schedule? Do you like seeing the Dolphins here in September? Obviously, not seeing them in Miami, but sorry.
I would prefer a little bit later, not too much later, because it's been taking the Bills a few games to get going, and Miami is a tough team.
Mm-hmm.
So this game might be very well one that splits the series, just because of how early it is. I'm not leaning too much on the single injury. Yeah, it is huge, but I lost my thoughts, so I'm going to kick it off to you.
Hey, everybody gets hurt. It's the NFL. Seattle Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker went for 100 yards last week. He's dealing with an oblique. Everybody gets hurt. Everybody gets injured. It's the matter of what injured is versus hurt. I think every player goes into a game injured, honestly. And they're all banged up in some kind of way.
By week 2, probably, yeah.
And, when you're hurt, you can't play. But when you're injured, you go out there and you put it all on the field. I slacked. I don't want to say I slacked because I didn't, because I've been making videos for this channel all freaking week. But I didn't make a graphic for the rest of the KellyCast for this video in terms of the Bills versus Dolphins predictions. So if you want to see all 12 members of the Bills and of the KellyCast predict the Bills and Dolphins game, please visit our Facebook page at the KellyCast, where you can find those. If you look under Mike Kelly and you look under Dan Kelly, you're going to see 3 question marks under both, because I have no idea who those people are picking, because those people are here right now. And I don't think I introduced us earlier, so here's our names on the screen. I'm having fun, man. I don't care.
We're just making sure the video worked.
Making sure the content's good. Hey, Chris, since you're commenting for us, let me know how the lag is if you're here, and you could let me know. But let's come down to the bottom line here, because Stone Cold said so. But are you taking the Bills or the Dolphins in this matchup? Because I feel like, it's kind of going 50-50 right now in terms of where people are leaning.
It definitely is. I think I want to, I want to go Bills. And actually, the Dolphins are a 2-point favorite in this game.
I think it's because they're the home team. It's the only reason.
It's going to be another barn burner if they start out slow like they did last week. I hope they don't. But I think the odds makers got this one wrong, and I think that the Bills are going to win. I think they're going to win by a touchdown or 2.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going that far. I know we don't do specific predictions, but I think
you know
by
why.
a touchdown or 2.
You know why we don't do numbers. It's annoying. Okay, Chris says not too bad. Only really notice for a second, so that was cool. I see you, Sam. I see you commenting. You're upstairs. Relax. I can talk to you after the video. Honestly, Mike, you brought these 2 helmets down.
I did.
And I thought the reason you did it was that you were going to pick the Miami Dolphins, and you kind of wanted a piece. I know we have a piece of them back here. I don't know if that's quite in camera shot, but I was like, he brought this down so he could pick the Dolphins.
Yeah, you can see the mug a little bit. Just for everybody knows, it was my mother's favorite team. That's why I have so much Miami gear.
And that's okay. I support Mike for that. It's tough to say, but I do.
But I am not a Miami's fan. And then also, I have a jersey because I needed to collect one for each team.
Yeah, we know.
I have to have
You got to do your jersey collection. You can't keep talking about the jersey collection on the channel and not showing the people the jerseys.
I will show everybody the jerseys if they show me the interest in wanting to see the jerseys. I put up a poll. I'm going to put up a poll, and I need all of you out there to say yes or no. I think it would be interesting. I think it would be fun.
I think it would do well on the channel, man. I told you I'll post it whenever you get a second. I know we have contrasting schedules and it's tough sometimes.
Kind of like I'll have Danny edit it. If I do it, it's gonna be like a once a month thing because I have quite the few jerseys. Most of the jerseys I own are non big name players,
but they have interesting stories. They made it to the league and they made it to the big time.
So kind of like a 30 for 30 for the little guys, if you will.
Hey, and sometimes those are the most interesting stories. You know, that the guy who everybody said couldn't do it. And yeah, he made the Packers. He was there for training camp, for OTAs and whatever. And yeah, he didn't make the team because it's hard. It's hard to make a 53 in the NFL.
Every single person watching this channel and watching the games tonight and over the weekends, we've all dreamt of being there at one point. So, you know, these guys got to do it.
I always knew I was going to be in the league, and my mother didn't let me play football, and that's why I'm not Tyreek Hill. That's the only reason.
I'm going to be nice today.
The only reason. Oh, you're going to be nice. Okay, I'll take that. Okay, so we have Bills for Mike. I'll make sure to adjust that on the channel, on the page.
Yep.
I'm going the Buffalo Bills. There was no freaking chance in hell that I was taking the Miami Dolphins, okay? For a couple reasons. I think the Buffalo Bills, obviously, in past matchups have done very well against them, Josh Allen specifically. I'm worried about the hand, maybe more than anybody else. And the reason I'm worried about the hand is because I don't know what the injury is. The only thing they say is it's a hand. If Josh Allen got shot in the thigh today, he would play football.
And I am not worried because it is his non-throwing hand, so it really doesn't have a huge factor on the way he's going to throw the ball. It may have a factor on the way he scrambles, but again, it's Josh Allen, like you said, and it doesn't matter. He could break the thing off, and he's still going to play tomorrow.
I still need to know what the injury is and how severe it is. I need to know if this is going to affect him all season, or if this is going to affect him for a couple weeks, or if it's just going to affect him for this game.
Why, when it's his offhand? What does it matter?
Huh?
What does it matter when it's his offhand?
Because it's still
what is that affecting? It doesn't matter. It's not going to affect the way he's gripping the ball. It's going to affect this.
What about when he's snapping? What about in shotgun?
It's going to affect this, bud. It's going to affect this a little bit. Yeah, okay.
What about handing the ball off to the running back? There are so many ways that it can affect his game. It's little things, Mike. I understand, but little things can make you lose a football game.
Yeah, it can. It can, especially maybe they don't do as much shotgun for a couple weeks. Whoop-de-doo.
Chris said I'm more of an O-liner blocking tight end. hey, Chris, go back to me in high school where I was skinny.
I'm gonna go fullback on that one, Chris. Fullback.
No, you're the fullback.
No. He's a little tall for fullback, but as far as athleticism, it's fullback all day.
I'm the water boy. You can be the fullback. Getting back into Bills and Dolphins here, I think the only thing we haven't talked about that was really important in last week's game, special teams. Didn't see anything bad from Bass, which is good. I mean, fingers crossed. Still, I'm a little worried. I'm not.
It was a very windy game.
I'm not the most worried, but a little worried about him. But we allowed a 96-yard touchdown. And that's what the Buffalo Bills did last year. Remember, we had this conversation. Chris called me Danny Boucher. Oh man, you're a riot, man. I appreciate you for coming in and entertaining us. What was I saying? The kick return, right? Last year, the Buffalo Bills played down to their opponent's level in almost every contest. And especially like to start off the season. Denver, a prime example. The Bills were better than the Broncos, and they lost that game because of the way they were performing.
They lost that game because you broke my finger and jinxed the whole entire thing.
Did it jinx the season? I don't know. But yeah, we're going to have to be more careful this time. But last week against the Arizona Cardinals, the game should have been over. The Bills were up by multiple scores. They're kicking off to the Cardinals, and I'm just starting to calm down. My heart rate is going back to normal, and then they allow a 96-yard touchdown. Tell me your thoughts when you see that play happen.
I totally blacked it out of my memory until you just said something. My thoughts were immediately to throw something through my TV because what the hell? But
Nobody got close to him. Nobody touched him. I mean, at the end, yeah, but for almost 95 yards, he was untouched.
yeah, it was just anger, man. Typical Bills fan stuff. I was just plain old angry. Like, come on, how do you let that happen? On a super fair kickoff rule now. I mean, I could see.
Well, now I think more than ever, Mike, the kickoff returns, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago on the podcast. Kickoff return touchdowns are exciting. We weren't excited for this one because it was against our team.
No, we weren't. But it definitely does bring back the excitement to.
And I will say, Mike, what I was going to get into with special teams there, I think more than ever now, it's more of an effort play. If your team is willing to block for you and has a good plan, you're going to get a good return. We got a good return from Codrington on one of those, and it's an effort play more than anything now. And I think that's interesting for the game of football. I'm glad it's back. I hope we do a better job of containing it and we don't allow another kick return touchdown all season.
Yeah, they kept kicking touchbacks after we almost ran that one out, so they didn't even give them a chance.
We need to do that sometimes too, obviously, to not allow a 96-yard touchdown. But that's all the time we have for today. Bills, Dolphins, kicking off in about 25 minutes or so. 8:15 for kickoff. Bills, Dolphins. We talked our keys to the game. If you missed that was Mike talking pressure on Tua. I mentioned the tight ends needing to get involved for the Buffalo Bills. We talked about the running back for Miami. I think there's just one thing we're missing before we go.
What's that? I got to say my adios.
Josh Allen hurdled another guy last week. And obviously we talked about his hand.
Once a year, we're going to have to get a painting of every year that he
There's a post
somebody.
on Twitter I'm going to have to show you. I'm going to have to show you the Allen, I think they call it like the Allen Tower. It's like an Eiffel Tower.
I
and
did see that.
They have all the guys underneath him that he hurdled. It's literally like this high. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy for a quarterback to be hurdling people.
Good to see you too, Chris. Again, thank you for coming in and livening up the chat. Everybody else who's here, I want to say thank you. We want to see you comment, but we understand if you're just enjoying the content. Maybe you have us on in the background. You're doing your dishes. You're watching your kids. That's fine. We do appreciate your support.
Make sure you comment on the videos that we do record too, guys. We'll try to respond to them the best we can.
I'm very active.
You highly disagree with something. This guy is always on the social media stuff. Myself, not so much anymore, but
very active in the comments, very active on Facebook. If you have any ideas for us, any questions, you can message our page directly. Until then, for Mike Kelly, I'm Dan Kelly. This has been the KellyCast, the only live you'll see for a very long time, and we'll be seeing you in the next one. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
We got to be like Josh.
Adios.
No.